Hello, I'm Nancy Alexander, and this is Wreath Tips with Nancy today. I'm going to show you a little something different. We're going to put honeysuckle in a wreath, and we've done that before. And I'm going to put clay pots in a wreath, and we've done that before too. But I don't believe I've ever showed you how I distress them or paint them or make them look old, like they got moss on them. Because you know I always like things that look old and used, and I distress them a little bit. So I'm going to show you two different ways that I do that. One way is fun. We won't get to use the pots that way today because it takes them a little while to dry. But notice I've got a container of water right here. And I've got some moss green spray paint. Now this came from a florist supply place. It's Perfect Touch by Floral Life. But any kind of spray paint will do. Sometimes I mix green and brown, but I'm out of brown, so we're just going to do it in green today. And this is really neat the way this does. I'm going to spray the spray paint in the water, but it doesn't sink and it doesn't mix in. It floats. It floats on top of the water, making little streaks. I don't know if I can you see that? I don't know if you can or not. Anyway, there's all kind of little streaks in the water. I'm going to start with a little pot first. And all you have to do is just dip it and then just kind of roll it around. And where the paint is floating, look there. You can see where it's not done, and you can see where it's done. So where the paint is still floating on top of the water, it sticks to the side of my pot. And you get all kind of little different designs and streaks and bubbles. I've got bubbles too. I'll sit right there. I'm going to lay out a piece of wax paper to sit these on and let them dry. Now when you're putting a clay pot in a wreath, that is going to be really, really cute. Now I'm going to spray a little bit more paint in there, and I'm going to do a larger one and show you. I'll do this one. Now, notice I'm just spraying it in little spurts because I want it to, I'm trying not to breathe it, y'all. I want it to stay kind of in little circles inside there. And actually, I've never done it with just green. I've always mixed green and brown, but that one looked really good. I kind of start the pot on one side, and it just starts sticking to it, and I just kind of roll it around. Or you could dip it in there. You can do it however you want. Look at those little different designs that it makes. Now I think right through here I could use a little bit more, so I'm going to spray a little bit more. This doesn't really choke me up. You're supposed to be doing this outside. Or I should be doing it outside. Oh, there's two little ladybugs at the bottom of my pot. Real ones. I think they were dead. Now some of it is kind of thicker in some spots and thinner in others, but when it dries, it'll look really, really neat in your wreath. I think while I'm spraying, I'll do one more. And then I'll show you the other way that I put paint on them. Y'all will love this. And if you have different color spray paint, you might want to do it in a totally different color. I think I'm going to dip it in from the top first. No, I'm not, because I did that one time and it left a streak all the way around. So I'm just starting on one side and kind of rolling it a little bit. It got a little bit thick, so I'm going to rub that right there. This is a bigger pot, so I'm going to need a little bit more paint. You can just dip it in this way if you want to get on the bottom. Okay. There are our distressed pots. I think they are really neat. And when you put them in a wreath, they really do look good. All right, I'm going to get rid of our container of water. And you know, oh, I am going to need my water. Sorry, I need it back. What was I going to say? Well, I don't remember. I have painted clay pots before when I've planted flowers because I wanted them in different colors. Well, after I'd watered them a good many times, the paint just started chipping off. But if you do it this way, it doesn't. It looks really neat. All right, now the reason I needed my water back is because I've got all my paints right here. I've got this. This is just artist paint. Oh, well, it's acrylic paint. I've got a whole container here. You can get it at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, any arts and crafts store. Sorry. And I'm just going to squirt on my wax paper I've got laying right here. Squirt a little bit of green and a little bit of burnt umber. Well, I have to take the top off, see if I can get some out of this one. It's full. Whoa! I got some out, all right. Got a big pile. That's enough to do 6 pots or 8 pots. Now, I want a little bit lighter green too. This one's leaf green. The first one was Seminole green. These 3 are the colors that I use the most. Seminole green, leaf green, and burnt umber. Now, I'm just going to dip the tip of my rag in the water, and I just kind of touch it into all 3 colors. I don't mix them together, but I just kind of touch it in all 3 colors, and I just start dabbing it on. If it doesn't have enough brown, I add a little more brown. If there's some spots where I want more green, I'll add a little bit more green. Make sure you always get up around the rim. If it's going to be in a wreath, that will show. And you need to get underneath here, so you'll have to kind of rub it there, but then you can kind of, excuse me, you can kind of spot it around other places. Always do the bottom. You never know when your wreath will be hanging high enough that someone will see up underneath and see, oh, that's a brand new clay pot underneath. And I keep dipping my rag in the water just to make sure it's thin enough, because I don't want it really thick. And when you're through, I just kind of blot it a little bit because I'm usually all ready to use the pot. I don't want to take time for it to dry, so get the rim right here. Now, that looks like a really old pot. Looks like one you'd find outside that's already got the moss growing on it. That's the way I really like them. So we're going to use that pot in our wreath today, and then I'm going to do this big one the same way. I'm just dipping my rag in the browns and the green, the brown and the greens, and the water. Probably got a little bit too much water that time, but you can't hardly go wrong with this. If it doesn't look right, dip your rag in some water and rub it out a little bit. And as you can see, whoa, that's bright green. See, you can just kind of blot it around, add some more brown. You just can't mess it up. Kind of gives it, looks like kind of a camouflage look. Oh, I was going to put a mic on Kim today and let her talk. She's always talking and y'all can't hear her. She's back there on the camera. I know what she's going to want me to do when I'm through. I'll tell you right now. She's always wanting to stress pots when she's making a wreath. She likes me to do them. She's going to say, Nancy, why you've got all that paint out over there? Unless I'm getting it all over me. Why don't you go ahead and do some more pots? Or if she didn't think about it, she is thinking about it now. And the spots where I think it's too dark or needs to be blended a little bit more, I'm just rubbing it a little bit more. I got a few fingerprints on there, so I'm blotting those away. And if you wanted it a little bit more splotchy, you can go back and add some more brown. A little bit more of that light green. Now you can tell where the tag was for the pot. It doesn't stick really good where the tag was, so I always make sure when I put that in my wreath that I have that turned around to the back. Now I'm going to got a little bit too much in one spot. So where I did, I'm just dipping my rag in some water and rubbing some of it back off. So like I said, you just can't go wrong. Either way, it's really easy and it's fun, whether you use the spray paint or you use the artist paint. This is how it looks with the artist paint, and this is how it looks, no, this is the spray paint, this is the artist paint. Okay. And I didn't use much of the, you see how much paint is left. And I really should make some more clay pots later, shouldn't I? So I'm going to move this out of the way. And get a little bit of this water. It's a good thing I left my rings off today. Get this off my hands. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put honeysuckle in this wreath, and I'm going to show you how I want to anchor these pots in. Put my paint back up. I'll slide this over. I just filmed a video last week, but It hasn't come out yet. It is called Sunflower Meadow. It'll be out right away because I've just finished editing it. But I wanted to do a free one for you today. So that's what this one is. This will be on YouTube or on my website, and it'll be on Facebook so you can see it. All right. Now, if you've seen me use honeysuckle before, you know how much fun it is. I love using it. Now, this is a piece, we get it by the roll. I'm going to hold it up and let you see it. Here's a roll of honeysuckle. And it was easier just to pull this little part right out of the middle to use on this wreath today. And we sell this, the same lady that makes our birch wreaths for us harvests honeysuckle. And I believe this is a 16-inch wreath right here we're going to start with.